Time to shine. Hi, I'm Ray of Sunshine. I love that you're here with me today. I want to show you this before it blows away. Oh, here it is. Time to shine.
Do I look like I have performance anxiety?
I posted it up there because I knew I was going to have trouble.
First, I'm Ray of Sunshine.
With my camera, and I would not be able to pick a card while I was in the record
Sunshine,
mode. So
I'm delighted that you're here with me today.
I picked it ahead of time. That's my new Oracle.
Performance anxiety, because it's what I came here to talk about primarily. And this is probably a pretty good chance that I will get back to it because I have it written here right on my notes, performance anxiety.
I'm using the...
And so, in fact, I could practice right now by putting my glasses on. And really, you know, there's an underlying reason for this, because I just have a feeling that there's some people wondering, geez, I wonder, he must look pretty sexy with glasses, right? So here you go. Then you can get an eyeful.
Oracle deck created by Magi, the High Priestess. It's called The Chosen Ones 144.
Eyeful. So that this serves a dual purpose, but in case I want to look at my notes, I put my glasses on.
So I picked that out for today. And you know, I also wanted to show you, I'm on an island now where I have made several presentations on this island in different spots. And I wanted to show you right in the middle of this island. This island is out in the middle of nowhere. I mean,
but these are both props. Everything in all of my videos is props.
It's right in the middle of a big pond.
And it's to illustrate a point, is to illustrate.
And this is a huge, it's probably about 15 feet tall. Can't show you the whole thing, but it's a rhododendron bush.
A progression of the lumps and bumps and bruises and bumps and bruises that we go through over the course of life. So that's the point of my whole video series.
Out here in the middle of the woods. So I thought that was pretty awesome.
Let me begin by telling you why I look the way I do, because no doubt when you first spotted me, some of you were wondering, geez, I wonder what it would be like to wake up next to him in the morning. Well, this is this.
Especially in keeping with the theme of my whole video presentation, which is, it's our time to blossom.
I'd like to see you wiggle for sure. It makes me...
It's very possible that you're new here, and it's very possible that someone sent you this video. And you want to know how I know that? Well, stick around for just a second. It'll all become clear.
My money don't jiggle, it folds.
Sunshine, I'm delighted that you're here with me today, along with all the other sunflowers. Let me explain. The visuals in this particular broadcast are a little bit significant, and you'll understand why in a little while. But I want to explain for those people who are not able to see me right now because they're driving or whatever, for whatever reason they can't see me. I want to explain the background here, which is a field of millions and millions of sunflowers.
And it's our time to shine. And you know, I don't know if you noticed, but
there's a hidden message there.
Outfit kind of complements the whole decor here, the whole color motif.
Hidden message, and the reason I know it's there is because I buried for you. Hidden is a life changer. Back there. I know it's there is because I put it there for you. The way this whole video presentation is set up, it shows a progression, right? So there's a lot of different ways of viewing lots of different rays of sunshine in all my earlier videos.
There was a time to shine. It's now.
The idea, but that's the idea of the whole earlier video series. Go back there with an open mind to take a look at Stumble and Fall.
Videos that started back last spring, and
now.
So there's some older videos back there, which is sort of like prehistoric.
To see what Stumble and Fall.
If you view this whole video presentation as a metaphor,
presentation is a series of Stumble and Fall
for us as humanity. What's going to happen is...
And no doubt I'm going to continue to stumble and fall because I'm human, but you're going to see all the different versions of my stumble and fall along my path, and maybe you'll relate to some of it.
In that progression, after there's a 1 through 6 video series, and there's A, B, C, D. The A, B, C sections has a grouping of videos. There's a half a dozen in each one of them. During each one of those, that progression, there is a transition. So, for example, when you're going from section A to section B, there's a transition. And there's an overlap. There's some of the attributes of the A section that'll overlap into the B until it fades away and
becomes B. You know, some of the B's being introduced as the A's are fading out.
And maybe you'll relate to the idea of sharing this video with somebody else on a silver platter, just like you got it, because the idea is all of us coming together. It's our time to shine.
I'm going to start by illustrating attention. What's happening here is on my side, my hand is raised into the eye level, and it's shaking. So it looks like it's waving. And I'm looking around until I get view of my hand shaking in the periphery, and it gets my attention. So that is attention illustrated.
And if ever there was a time to shine, it's now.
Now I'm going to illustrate intention.
It's now.
And intention works a little bit differently, because in this case here, there's no hand, there's no activity around. There's just, I'm just surrounded by sunflowers. All the sunflowers have in common, what we all have in common with each other, it's our time to blossom.
Performance anxiety sometimes is linked with a psychological sort of condition where maybe you feel compelled to perform in a certain way, and you feel like you need to become stimulated in a certain way to be able to complete your mission.
So I'm looking around.
Let me finish illustrating.
And there's
intention.
Nothing for me to focus on. I intend, however, to have my hand go up on the side of my head and start shaking like it's waving, and focus my attention on. So I intended for it to happen, and it happened. So that's the difference between attention and intention.
That's sort of a clinical term for performance anxiety, which some people may have experienced. And I've also experienced performance anxiety. Maybe in that way. I've experienced in other ways too, and it happened particularly before I started this YouTube series.
So let me tell you about the attention-intention comparison. Well, here's one way to look at it. Okay, you could look at attention, the idea of something getting our attention, that's where we focus. As maybe the old energy that many of us have been used to for a long time might be one way to think about it. In this lifetime, perhaps, and maybe in lots of previous lifetimes too, sort of like the Dark Ages. And another kind of energy might be thought of as the kind of energy that maybe we're moving into, and a little bit more an energy that's elevated in many ways, a little more positive.
Back almost a year ago, and I had performance anxiety just thinking about the idea, because for my whole life, I didn't think about making videos. Although, you know what? I didn't have that ambition my whole life. And it's just recently, like, maybe this idea pops in my head. Maybe you have a message to share. And, so the idea of doing YouTube videos popped in my head. And I had performance anxiety about that.
We could think of it as a difference between creating a hell on earth or creating a heaven on earth. If I had two platters, and one of them was all full of stuff that you don't like at all.
And you'll see a good example of some of that if
you're not interested in it. Let me put it this way. And the other platter is all kinds of stuff that you really
go back. Go back to the 1 through 6 video collection. You're going to see an amazing difference. There's a whole array of rays of sunshine back in all those earlier videos.
Hard to say. If I'm offering them to you, which one would you like? And you're going to pick this.
And if you go back there with an open mind, you're going to discover how you deal with discovering different. And the reason it would be significant to deal with discovering different is because there's a lot of different.
One of the things I talk about, but I talk about it in a lot of different ways, although I talk about it in every single one of my videos, is that we're moving into a different energy. And it's a time to see the glow up
happening in our world right now. Go find it. So you may stumble and fall.
And it doesn't always happen in that particular order. The order that is probably going to happen more is be the glow up and see the glow up. Be the glow up.
It's our time to shine. If ever there was a time to shine, it's now. So you may stumble and fall, and stumble and fall, and stumble and fall. But the important thing is that we as humans pick ourselves up and dust ourselves off and get started all over again and elevate to new heights. The long and short of the whole presentation is to expect performance anxiety. That's the stage that we're in. It's now. Because there's a message there for you. And the time is getting critical. The time is now.
The more we come together and shine bright together, the quicker we'll make that happen. There's a reason you'd want to do that.
I'm setting up my new camera. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Testing. 1, 2.
That's the energy that we're heading into, okay? The difference between hell on earth, heaven on earth. The difference between those two platters. The difference between choosing between those two platters and choosing hell on earth or heaven on earth is that some people might hesitate to choose the heaven on earth concept because they don't believe it. Be sure to share this video with somebody. But that's because they don't believe that they have a choice, because we all have a choice. We all have that choice. Don't believe it's possible. Just like we have a choice. We're transitioning, forming, or getting with the program, or not being with the program. Can't have both, right? We're transforming. So that's a lot of what this program is for many people too. It's a chance to. So one side of the fence is sort of like that Shangri-La reality that I'm talking about. Get off the fence, one way or the other. And the other side of the fence is, and that's the difference between the two tensions that I was talking about. Intention versus attention. More of a climate of intention. And the climate that we're developing into, the climate we're coming out of, and a climate that many of us have been stuck in for a good part of this lifetime and in many, many previous lifetimes, as far as I'm concerned. It's time to blossom. And don't forget to share this video so we get all the other sunflowers to blossom with us.
You know, one thing that you've probably come to expect from the ray of sun shining,
in the habit of paying attention to whatever it was that was demanding our attention and creating more of the same. And creating more of the status quo. Status quo. So that's one choice, is to remain with the status quo.
Is to expect the unexpected.
And the other choice is we're blooming. To believe and do better. To believe that we can rise up more. I believe we can do making a puzzle. We can do this together. To believe that we can have better. To believe that we can do better. All puzzle pieces are created equal. They have different shapes. They have different things that might show on them. Some might be bright. Some might be, as one example, dull with our society. That's why it's important. And they're all required to complete the puzzle. And that's the same or the same. And we can. That's a choice. If we want to continue, whoever wants to do that, totally free choice. You know what status quo reminds me of? It reminds me of, and you probably heard this story before. And then there's the other side of the coin about this hound dog that's laying on a porch.
So, I told you.
And the farmers and the rocketeer alongside of him enjoying the sunset. Somebody walks by and says to the farmer, "Hey, what's up with the dog?" And the hound dog is just howling and moaning and groaning. And D-O-G is what I'm trying to say, by the way, dog. So what's up with the dog? And the farmer says, he's laying on a nail, but it doesn't hurt enough to do something about it. It just hurts enough to moan and groan and gripe and complain. And so that's what he does. And that's the status quo. And it's a choice. You can get up. Can move
already. I told you over, and I repeat a lot of things in a lot of my previous videos, and I told you over and over.
You know, I've been in business all my life. I've had thousands and thousands of clients, people that associates that I've had personal relationships with, hundreds and hundreds of friends. Well, can stay, can move on, stay in the status quo. That's the choice. And except for literally a handful of people who stuck with me then and stick with me now.
It's our time to shine.
Except for them, I became the target. I became the enemy of the world. And this was headline news worldwide. I was hated by millions of people worldwide. And that hate went on for years and years and years. And I was made to feel small, and I was made to feel insignificant. I shriveled up. So it became invisible. That so small, but as a result of that, and so the world that got our attention is the old world. After a long struggle, I'm learning loving and loving living. And that's what I want to tell you about. And that's why I'm glad that you joined me here today. You know, in order to be betrayed, in order to be backstabbed, in order to be targeted for conflict and struggle, there have to be a betrayer and a betrayed. It's our time to blossom. This is our best time ever to glow up. It's time to glow up. And that's what I show in my whole video presentation. And the reason I say it's the best time ever is because the conditions are right. My salvation through all of it. I spent a long time there. Even when I reached the bottom of the bottomless pit, and the one thing I held on to was a sliver. Maybe not even a whole sliver, but I'm going to call it a sliver. It's playtime. Create you. A sliver of hope. Hope because we are magnificent creators. I'll have more hope tomorrow that I'll be able to get through another day. It's playtime. Create you. I would like to take a moment to acknowledge and thank my contributors. Right. This is the best time in all of our history for us to make that happen. It doesn't come down to letting it happen. It doesn't come down to, oh, let's leave it for the next one. Somebody else will send it out. And be able to figure out why. Why did this happen to me? I can't be bothered. I don't care enough to send this video to somebody. You can say that. That's one choice. But you know, this is a global effort. My contributors are all of those situations, all of those people who, over the course of my life, have had an influence in one way or the other. Is people, what we are. We're all incarnated with a spark of the divine. And we're a spark off the old block. And sometimes it takes a little slapping around to get us to realize that. People who have wanted or not wanted me. That's what I see my situation as, being kind of slapped around, being kicked around. And, you know, I had an impact on my life. This is a global effort. This is what's going to be needed for us to accelerate this process about an unjust criminal conviction we're subjected to. Sometimes positive, sometimes not so positive. And all those contributors come in the form of the seen and the unseen. There's plenty in the spirit world many years ago, providing for a sex offense that my husband Sid and I, that support over the whole course of my life. But with all of those contributors, with all of that influence, it gives me the opportunity to figure out what it is that I want to hold on to and what it is that I don't want to hold on to. Moving into where we want to be. Moving into where we can believe we can be, if we can believe we can make it happen. And what it is that I don't want to hold on to. What it is that I want to let go. And the reason I bring that up over and over again, I was kicked till I was down. And this is a big time of letting go. I was kicked again and kicked again and kicked again. And I have... And to believe you, the way that you can believe till you make it happen, in many of my previous videos, to do it, we're stepping into a new world. Because it's a choice. And if you're full, hey, you know the best thing you can do to contribute toward this effort is find what makes your heart dance of it. If you're full of the old world, there's no room to let the new world in. So that's a lot of what I show in my video presentation. There's a whole progression, a whole array of rays of sunshine. And if your heart is dancing, find what makes your heart dance more. Because it feels good. Shit. That I put feels there. Better. It feels better to love you than to groan and moan with and whine and complain about you. It feels better to love you. It's playtime. Time to create you. hidden messages with buried... Hey, I'm really glad you were here with me today. With buried treasure. Today. Look forward to seeing you in the next one. And meanwhile, share kindness and share this video. You know, it's going to happen eventually. So why not just get it over with? Just get the ripple. Keep the ripple going. Is having fun. Then we can all focus on, we can help happy happen. I talk about that in a lot of my previous videos. There's no such thing as too much happy. To focus on what it is to create happiness. To have a world of compassion, world of understanding, helping happy happen. A world of support, a world of giving. With a world of a whole bunch of I ams, help happy happen by focusing, all loving themselves to pieces. Doesn't that sound pretty good? You know what? I'm not going to come up with any suggestions that are like that on what it is. Focusing on what it is when we all come together. That's what I'm all about. Help happy happen. There's no such thing as too much happy. So that's the kind of, and that's why you're here. That's the kind of things that I have absorbed playtime, and the kind of things that I'm going to blossom. So we can all come together hand in hand. It's playtime. It's playtime. Create you.